Something strange is happening in my town, and I think I'm the only one who's noticed the pattern. It started about a month ago. First, it was Mr. Henderson from down the block, a quiet, older man who mostly kept to himself. One day he was just gone. His car was still in the driveway, the morning paper was on his porch, but he had vanished. The police found no signs of a break-in, no struggle, nothing. It was as if he just evaporated. A few days before he disappeared, I remember walking my dog past his house. There was this weird smell in the air. It wasn't unpleasant, actually. It was sweet, almost like overripe fruit mixed with something floral, like jasmine on a hot summer night. It was thick, cloying, and it seemed to hang right over his property. I didn't think much of it at the time, just a strange neighborhood smell. But then he was gone. A week later, a young couple who had just moved in a few streets over also vanished. The Millers. Again, the same story. Their phones were on the kitchen counter, dinner half prepared. The front door was locked from the inside. They just ceased to be there. I happened to be driving past their house the day before they were reported missing. I had my window down, and that same smell hit me. That sickly, sweet, fruity, floral scent. This time it sent a shiver down my spine. This couldn't be a coincidence. I started digging, scrolling through local news archives and online forums. It turns out this wasn't just happening in my town. Similar cases were popping up in small towns all across the country. Isolated incidents of people disappearing from their homes without a trace. I found a few mentions buried deep in comment sections of a strange, sweet smell right before the disappearances. Most people dismissed it, but I knew they were connected. The media wasn't linking the cases. To them, they were just a series of unfortunate, unrelated missing person reports. But I saw the thread. The disappearances were always preceded by this odor. I tried to talk to the police about it, but they looked at me like I was crazy. A smell? Ma'am, we're looking for real evidence. I felt helpless. I was seeing the warning sign, but nobody would listen. Then things got worse. The first body was found. It was a woman from a town 2 states over, who had been missing for 2 weeks. She was discovered in a dense forest miles from her home. There were no marks on her body, no signs of violence. The official cause of death was what truly terrified me. A heart attack. The coroner's report, which I managed to find through a leaked document online, stated she died from extreme cardiogenic shock induced by an acute fear response. She was literally scared to death. Over the next few weeks, more of the missing were found, all in the same condition. Far from home, no signs of a struggle, and all dead from what the coroners were calling unprecedented terror. Their faces were frozen in a silent scream. What could possibly frighten someone so badly that their own heart would just give up? And how did it connect to that sweet smell? I became obsessed. I spent every waking moment researching. I looked into rare plants, industrial chemicals, biological agents, anything that could produce such a specific scent and have such a terrifying effect. Nothing matched. The smell was unique, and the cause of death was something out of a horror movie, not a medical textbook. The disappearances started getting closer to home again. My next-door neighbor, a kind woman named Mrs. Gable, who always gave me extra tomatoes from her garden. I smelled it one evening while taking out the trash, that cloying, sweet perfume, drifting over the fence from her yard. I hammered on her door, my heart pounding in my chest. I yelled her name, begged her to answer. There was no response. I called the police, told them about the smell, told them she was in danger. They sent a patrol car for a wellness check. By the time they forced the door open, the house was empty. She was gone. The smell was gone, too. I felt like I was losing my mind. The pattern was so clear to me, yet I was utterly powerless to stop it. I was living in a constant state of anxiety, sniffing the air like a paranoid animal. Every sweet scent, a whiff of perfume, the smell of blooming flowers, sent a jolt of panic through me. I couldn't sleep. I barricaded my doors and windows, but I knew it was useless. This thing didn't need to break in. Last night it happened. I was sitting in my living room, the lights off, just listening to the quiet hum of the house. And then I smelled it, not from outside. It was inside with me, faint at first, but growing stronger. That horribly familiar sweet, fruity, floral scent. My blood ran cold. I grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, a cast-iron skillet, and stood in the middle of the room, my body trembling. I didn't know what I was waiting for, what I was supposed to fight. The smell was overwhelming, now thick and suffocating. It felt like it was coating my tongue, filling my lungs. Panic seized me. My heart was hammering against my ribs so hard I thought it would break through. I started gasping for air, but all I could breathe in was that scent. It was coming from everywhere and nowhere. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing for whatever was coming. A monster? A ghost? I didn't know. The silence stretched on, broken only by my own ragged breathing and the frantic drumming of my heart. I waited and waited. Nothing happened. No monster appeared, no ghost attacked. There was just the smell, and the crushing, absolute terror it brought with it. Then, as my panic reached its peak, I realized something. I held my breath. For just a second, the smell lessened. I took another desperate gasp of air, and it rushed back, stronger than ever. The scent wasn't just in the room. It was in my breath. It was coming from me. I stumbled to the bathroom, my legs shaking, and stared at my reflection in the mirror. My face was pale, my eyes wide with a terror I had never known. I took a slow, deliberate breath, and then exhaled onto the cold glass of the mirror. It fogged up, and as it cleared, the sweet smell hit me again, radiating from that small patch of condensation. It's not something in the air. It's not a gas or a plant. It's us, the fear. The extreme, paralyzing fear creates the scent. It's a biological marker, a pheromone of pure terror. That's what it's hunting. It doesn't track us with sight or sound. It follows the smell of our fear. The people who disappeared weren't taken by something that broke into their homes. They were taken by something that was drawn to the scent they produced in their final, terrifying moments. The reason the victims were found so far away, dead from fright, is because once it has your scent, it can take you from anywhere. The fear itself is the beacon, and I can smell it on myself now. It's pouring out of me. Every terrified breath I take is a signal, a dinner bell. I can't stop being afraid, and because I can't stop being afraid, I can't stop producing the scent. I've sealed my windows and locked my doors, but I know it's pointless. I can hear a faint scratching sound now, not at the door or the window. It sounds like it's coming from inside the walls. No, not the walls. It's coming from inside my own head. It knows I'm here. It's following the trail. I don't know what it is, but it's coming for me, and all I can do is breathe out the sweet smell of my own end.